Good morning. How's everybody doing? Got the 140 out this morning. Got a little bit of cultivating to do. Thought I'd show a couple shots of the garden here. Let everybody see how it's going. Third week of April. Still hadn't had any rain here in Georgia. I'm running 15015 fertilizer today on these beans and peas. Probably not the best mixture, but it's what I got, and there's other reasons. I had a few questions on my fertilizer, so I thought I'd mention it right quick. You know, there's some general rules of thumb that you could kind of go by, and you also got to consider the history of the land and what you got going, you know, the things like your corn and broccoli and those onions, you know, those plants love nitrogen, and you can typically run you like a balanced fertilizer on those up front, and then you're going to have to come back and feed them just some straight ammonium nitrate or something, you know, midway through to keep them going, keep them happy. Beans and peas, you know, typically you think something like a 5, 10, 15 maybe, light coat at that, and then that may be it on them. They don't need anything else. So the 15015 is a little bit different mixture on these beans and peas. I'm gonna run it pretty light, maybe 2.5 pounds or something to a 100-foot row, more or less, you know, a pretty light dose. This land for the last 100 years, I guess you could say, used to be a hog operation here, and a lot of hog manure has been spread around the pastures and things here. And then I've been out here, I guess that probably went on through the 70s, maybe into the early 80s, maybe 70s. I guess I've been out here pushing 40 years now. And we built poultry houses out here, and I spread a lot of chicken litter for a lot of years, and mostly just grazing cows on it. But sometimes I'm planting winter grass or winter rye and small grains, you know, feeding cows. And you know, when you got chicken houses, you got a lot of chicken litter. So I was putting quite a bit of chicken litter for a lot of years until an old wise man told me that you gotta watch them chemicals in your soil, and that, you know, that when you're looking at 15015, them three numbers there, your N, your P, and your K, that middle number is your P, your phosphorus. That phosphorus will build on you in the soil. And that's what I began to understand a few years back. And when I did a soil test, you know, the N and the K, it'll disappear pretty quick. You can put too much on a plant and burn it, you know, too much nitrogen, but, you know, in a few weeks, a couple of months at the most, it's gone. That N and that K, that first and last number, they're going to disappear on you pretty fast. That middle number, that phosphorus, that's the one you got to watch building in your soil, and that's what I had a problem with here. So when I finally got around to doing the soil test, with the history of the hog farm and the chicken litter, my phosphorus numbers were off the charts. We started trying to do some figuring on how long it would take if I didn't put any phosphorus out, you know, and depends on what you're planting, you know, like corn or some things, they'll pull more phosphorus out of the ground than just, say, grazing cows on it. But this little square up here I plant my corn on, it used to be part of the pasture. And I calculated if I planted corn on it for the next 75 years and didn't put any phosphorus down, I'd still have too much phosphorus in the ground. That's how high my phosphorus numbers are around here, just because of the history of this land. So when you see me putting out fertilizer, it's always gonna have a 0 in the middle, because if there's anything I don't need, it's more phosphorus. So that's part of why you see me do what I do. You know, other people, other pieces of land are all going to be different, but that's part of the reasoning behind you see what I'm doing. So I'm gonna do a light dose of 15015 on my butter beans, my green beans, my turkey toes, and I won't do anything else to them. Like I say, it'll be a light coat on them anyway. The corn, I put 15015 when I plant it. I'll come back and heat it again with some 3400, As soon as it's up a little bit, I'll hit it once, maybe even twice, depending on what the weather's doing. Same way on this broccoli and onions, you know, I get 15/15 when I plant, and I come back and hit them with the nitrogen again. So that's why I use what I do. All right, let's do a little cultivating, putting out some fertilizer. Got a row of broccoli here. They've been doing really good. Bugs is chewing on them just a little bit on the leaves there, but I may get to pick a little bit of broccoli this week. Getting some heads on them. Pretty good size. That's a good size one there, about big as your hand. Got some cauliflower on down through there. Got a few squash, zucchinis here in the shade. I got a whole row of squash seeds down through there. They hadn't sprouted yet. But they're little plants here. They just now getting a root in the ground. They've been in the ground a few days. Trying to keep them a little bit wet. It's awful dry. Only got a few tomatoes going. There's a little bitty one started forming. That's a big boy there that I bought. The rest of these my buddy gave to me. These are German Johnsons. He gave me one last fall that I was able to keep alive all winter in the basement. So I've been taking a few cuttings off of it. That's one of them there. That's one of the first ones. It's looking pretty good. Here's a couple of later ones I did. They just kind of getting a root going. They doing all right. And then I got some smaller ones. Just kind of getting started. Got one there, one there, one there. So that's 7 tomatoes. I may root me a few more. A few little peppers. Won't be long, we'll be growing some peppers. I stuck this little arch up, and I got some Kentucky Wonder pole beans I planted on each side of it. Got 2 little short rows on that side to see if they can go across it. And I got, you see right there, 2 cucumbers. I got a couple cucumbers there and there, so they'll mix in with it and grow up. We'll see how they do. I also got a few cucumbers out here that I rooted. There's one over there and one there. I got 4 in this little square. They hadn't been in the ground too long. They doing good. The butter beans are sprouted. I don't know, they ain't perfect, but I'm gonna blame it on the hot and cold weather and how dry it's been. I probably should have put some water on them earlier, but could have been the seed, I don't know, but I'm gonna call it maybe a 80% germination. You can see there's a little skip here and there on them. They're not 100%, but that's a decent little stand, I guess. I don't know. Not sure, but got 6 rows of them. They all kind of similar. This last one here may be the worst. Got a pretty good little skip right here on the end, and then it straightens out going on down. Just didn't get the best germination on them. This row on the end here is green beans. I don't know why, but I'd call it a 99%. The green beans sprouted perfect. Same drought conditions. Maybe it's the seed, I don't know. Of course, some of these butter beans are still popping out. I ain't give up yet. I'm gonna put a little more water on them. Let's see. I saw some this morning. I don't know where they was at, but some of them are still just now sprouting, so I may get a few more. I think there's one there. You see that one? Maybe just come up overnight. It may not be over yet, but still be a fair amount. These are little turkey toads out here that I planted. Kind of like the butter beans. I don't know, they didn't. Maybe 85% germination or something. A little bit sporadic. I had my spacing a little wide on the two. I did 4 rows here, a little bit wide, and then I came back later and did this last row, and they just now popping out on here. You can see they're just coming out of the ground today. But they're a little closer together on this one, so we'll see if these sprout any better. There's still a pretty big spot there in the middle that ain't popping out, so it's been dry this year. Got a row of Texas super sweet onions. They doing real good. They just now kind of started bulbing. Whole row looks real good on these. You see they beginning to just now starting to kind of bulb a little bit. I got corn on the other side of them. I guess they're all similar. I was looking for one a little bigger. You can see the little bulbs starting to form on them. And then across here I got about 12 rows of corn, and I noticed it popping out yesterday. Yeah, it's kind of getting started up through there. Yeah. I see some way down there on the end. You probably can't see. I don't see anything right here in the middle. And then I see them again on this end. So, probably just a little difference in the moisture. It's a little bit more clay content here in the middle. But they seem to be slower germinating. It got cold here for a few days, so probably changing things a little too. But we'll see. They start to come out. I won't do anything with them today. They ain't quite big enough to be cultivating. Like I say, I got 12 rows there. A couple of rows of sweet potatoes here I laid out. They had really weakened up in this sun, but they pepped up a little. The leaves has turned up today. They've been out here a couple of days. There's a row there and a row here. They're a little bit wilted. It was pretty hot on them the day I planted. They've been out here, I guess, 5 or 6 days now, probably. But for the most part, they standing back up. I think they'll be fine. Got a row of sunflowers here, but they ain't really sprouted yet. And I got a couple of empty rows here. I ain't decided what I'm gonna do with yet. I may put some cantaloupe or watermelon up here. I may not beside these sweet potatoes, but I could plant something else in here. We'll see. All right, I'm gonna get the Farmall going. I'm gonna put me a little fertilizer in and cultivate through those beans and peas. May put my hillers on. I got some Irish potatoes down there I didn't show. I need to run through them and hill them. Let's see what we can do.